When I retired in January 2017, I wasn't sure what I was going to do. Started up a consulting firm. I figured I'd continue doing work like I was doing in the not-for-profit world. Very quickly decided that I didn't want to do that. I wanted to do something new, but I wasn't sure what that was going to be. So I ended up interviewing 100 people to find out what they were doing in their lives. Interviewed people from all walks of life, and they all had similar stories about reinventing their lives, about retirement not being a destination any longer. It was just the first stage of reinventing themselves and figuring what they wanted to do. We saw our parents working to 65, our grandparents working to 65, and boom, on your 65th birthday, you were out. You got the gold watch and you retired. And that was it for working. And then we went into what was called old age. And that was our retirement years. And the average lifespan was 75, 72, 75 for our grandparents. So there weren't many years, so they weren't very active. And I realized that's the way my brain was wired. That's the way all of our brains are wired. When we're very young, in our formative years, that's where we develop our values and our belief systems.
When he came in, he was speaking about retirement and pre-retirement, and that spoke to me because I'm a Gen Xer. I'm thinking about retiring. I'm at the younger end of that, but it's still on the forefront of my mind because I want to be able to enjoy my life when I do retire. I've seen other people in my life that haven't been able to physically enjoy their lives, financially enjoy their lives. So all this planning that he talked about is very relevant for my generation. I plan on living till I'm 100, so I want to be able to live that healthy, active lifestyle and enjoy myself, have a life of well-being. So everything that he said is relevant for not only baby boomers, not only Gen Xers, but millennials as well. I think it's good for all generations to learn this, and it's something that we can all take something away from. So
when I started interviewing people, I realized this is different. So I started researching, and the paradigm today that our kids or grandkids are growing up with is very different. Childhood and adolescence is until about 25, and then kids are starting to go out and work. They're coming back and forth into their home again, going back to school again, going out to work again. That rings a bell. And adulthood now is all the way up to 80. There's no mandatory retirement. That was gone in, depending on the province, 2007, 2008 in the country. And people are retiring anywhere from 50 to 80.
Be able to gain the tools and the knowledge of how to better improve that transition period once it does come time for retirement or protirement. I mean, the name itself says it all. It's all about seeing it in a more positive way, making the changes now to be successful in that time of your life, because like he had mentioned, 1/3 of our lives is going to be spent in protirement. So we need to know how to maintain our health, not only physically, mentally, socially, emotionally, so we can be successful in those last years of our lives there.
The last question I asked everybody, what advice would you give people who haven't retired yet? And I thought it would be advice about retirement. Half of their advice was, and I mentioned it at the outset, they said, Ellis, if I had to do it over again, I would have changed my lifestyle when I was working to make my protirement easier, or that journey through the 3 stages a lot easier. After I interviewed 100 people and I analyzed all the information from their busy lives after they had retired, I found 3 incredibly exciting things. One, retirement is no longer a destination for baby boomers. It's become a 3-stage process. We retire, we go into a transition stage where we have to sort out a new lifestyle, and then we protire, and we stay in protirement for the next 10, 20, 30 years, and we embrace 17 different activities we choose from, and we recreate our lives in such an exciting way. So every one of you will go through sadness, sense of loss, uncertainty, disorientation in your own way, in your own journey, and you're going to have to be aware of that and work it through in your own way. It was an incredible journey writing the book. I ended up interviewing 100 people from all walks of life, and some really fascinating people. I interviewed Lloyd Robertson, Ronnie Hawkins, Leona Boyd, Ken Dryden, former Governor Tom Ridge from the US, Gil Amelio, a former CEO of Apple. And the amazing thing is, all of these people, rich and famous, went through the exact same experience that everybody else went through that I interviewed for the book. We all go through the 3-stage process and struggle after we retire until we reinvent ourselves and we move into protirement.
In a way, I think Ellis is giving us our future back. He's inspired me and hundreds, perhaps thousands of people we used to call retirees to push forward in our 60s and 70s and beyond, and to explore life and our limits. But I don't think you necessarily have to listen to what he says or even what he writes. Just watch Ellis. He's almost into his 70s. He's full of love and life and passion, and I think he'll rub off on you.
Here's the advice of 100 retirees, from coal miner to executives, from doctors to hockey players, all going through the retirement process. Life 3.0, Protirement, not retirement. It's available on Amazon.